Hey, thank you so much for watching today. We're going to cover New Jersey tax liens, and really we're just going to talk about why you should be paying attention to these if you're a serious tax investor, what the market has for you to expect, how these auctions work, and then we're going to dive in and look at one of the heaviest months of the year, October, and take a look at what you can expect as far as volume, property value, lien value, things like that. And before we get started, I was just going to tell you we have the next four videos planned out in rapid succession coming up, and there's some great stuff coming up, some new announcements, new ways to buy in Alabama, just some big announcements. So be sure to subscribe so that you can get the little YouTube notification for those videos when they come out. And we'd love for you to stay in touch that way. So let's get started with New Jersey. I won't take any more time on that intro. And let's just talk first off on how these auctions work. So they are conducted at the municipal level, not by the county. This is a little bit different than most of your tax lien states, but it's not a problem. It just means you have more auctions to track, really. So with over 500 municipalities, you're going to have a lot of small auctions throughout the year. Some municipalities actually hold auctions multiple times throughout the year. They pretty much, from what we can tell, can have it whenever they want. But there is definitely a concentration of auctions that we're going to show you on the calendar here that you should pay close attention to because it's not every month is the same every year. Some municipalities, they will sell in bulk instead of a public tax auction. This means you're going to need to basically buy from the county. I don't have any examples of those to share with you today. This is something anecdotal we've heard from our customers where, and this is true in a lot of municipality-based states where a small market, they might just work with private investors. What we're going to talk about mainly today are just the online auctions because there's enough opportunity there to really get your attention. You can find some small market bulk sales, some small market, maybe sealed bids even, but for the most part, online sales are where the real volume is that we found. So these liens that we're talking about, they have a 2-year redemption before foreclosure can begin. That's 2 years is kind of average. It's not too much, not too little. And one of the things that sets New Jersey apart that we've heard is directly from our customers that buy there is that when you pay for that first year of taxes and you're working towards that 2 years to get the foreclosure, you're not required to pay that second year necessarily, and really taxes beyond that until you foreclose. So if you make it through the foreclosure and get that far along, you will have to pay up taxes eventually. But unlike other states, if you skip that second year while you're in the waiting game, you don't forfeit your interest in the lien. You don't lose anything. That's just something that's kind of nice about New Jersey that we've heard from a lot of you out there that invest there. So a little bit of terminology trivia in case you're wandering around New Jersey talking about tax liens. You might hear them called tax title certificates. It's kind of potato. You might hear one way or the other. But don't panic if you go to an auction selling tax title certificates. It's the same thing we're talking about today, tax liens. Let's continue talking about how these auctions work. Let's talk about the auction format is going to be a bid down interest. So if you're new to this, your typical auction you've seen on TV or maybe you've attended in real life or just in general is where you do what's called a premium bid, which means there's a starting bid and you bid higher and higher values on top of that. So $1,000, $2,000, and so forth until the highest bid. A bid down interest starts at a certain interest rate. In New Jersey, the maximum interest rate is 18%, so most auctions will start there. And you're going to bid that down 17, 16, 15, and so forth. Depending on the municipality, the increments could be different. It could be half percentages, whole percentages. But essentially, whoever's willing to take the lowest interest rate on the taxes owed is going to be the winner. So you're not bidding up the opening bid. You're actually, whoever buys the tax lien will pay that opening bid of taxes owed, but it's a question of how much interest are they going to get on that tax lien. So again, as mentioned, 18% interest rate. That is the maximum rate set by the state, but you may find some places with less. Brings me to my next point. Local, county, and municipality rules could vary. And I'm going to say this is typically going to be for the in-person auctions or the sealed bid type of things. But what I want you to watch out for when you're going to a New Jersey auction is you might find pleasantly a redemption penalty interest. The only difference in redemption penalty interest and normal pro rata interest is that the redemption penalty interest pays out in full of whatever that penalty is whenever the redemption happens. It doesn't matter what month or how many months it's been. Normal interest being pro rata, they're going to pay out prorated throughout the year. One example of this, I'll just use Florida as an example because it's kind of a similar state with an 18% interest max. Florida does like a 5% penalty interest. So your first 5% on that first year is guaranteed, no matter when the redemption happens, and then the remainder of that interest rate accrues monthly. So uh, you could look out for redemption penalty interest. That'd be a nice thing to find somewhere if it plays to your favor. You could find variable rates depending on taxes owed, which in short, that just means they might have less than 18% somewhere. We know it won't go over the state max of 18%, but you could find counties or municipalities that offer a smaller interest rate for the max rate. And then you might even find a minimum bid down rate. I know states like Alabama, a lot of states will let you bid that interest rate all the way to zero. You might find some places that stop you at 1%, maybe 1.5%. I don't know, just something to look out for when you're reading the auction rules. But most importantly, understand the auction rules before you bid. It amazes me how many of you take a keen interest in the auction rules after you bought. Please don't do that. Please take an interest before you bid, before you buy, before you put a penny into registration, deposit, or anything. Understand your rules first, okay? It's too late after you've already bid. All right, enough of that soapbox. Let's talk about what to expect in the auction season. And this is going to play off history a bit and what we've seen in previous years. But what we'll do is we'll start off. Let's talk about October of 2025 and our sample so far, which means we're still in September. There are more auctions coming in October. So far in October, we see 3.72 billion in total property value where these liens are being issued against these properties. 22 million is delinquent in the taxes owed, and this is a good time to bring this up. Yes, 22 million, we just tally of the opening bids. We found out in New Jersey sometimes the smaller liens, like a $40 lien, a $90 lien on a nice property, those liens may not even be tax liens. They just route them through the same process for convenience in some places because that's how the law works. It just carries nicely where you can send a different type of lien to auction. So if you see a $40 lien on a $500,000 house, it's probably not a tax lien, but it's going to be right there in the same auction, okay? So 22 million in total delinquent taxes due so far just for October. 330,000 is the average property value. So if you're thinking about kind of like what to expect, these properties are not cheap. They're not low value. And this is county assessment, okay? So property value being the assessed value, the actual market value could be much higher depending on the property. Just depends. And lastly on this table here, this number blew me away, and it's been consistent every year. We've checked roughly 87.5% of the parcels assessed have structures, okay? So in our typical tax lien auctions, if you average it out nationwide, we'll see between 2/3 and 3/4. Well, this one blows away any market that I've seen tax lien wise, having, really close to 90%. Actually, if you extrapolate this over the year, it is closer to 90%. We're just talking about October. So you can say almost 90% of parcels are going to have structures assessed in them. So that's a massive proportion there of parcels with structures. Okay, so let's talk about the previous year auctions by month. Okay, there's a reason I'm doing this video in October, and it's because this is really the first of 3 months where 75% of the year's auction properties go to sale in these 3 months, October, November, December. And here's a little illustration, okay? We tracked it for you the last 3 years, 2023. You'll notice in October, November, December, that's the number of auctions, okay, that you see here, 85, 25, 76, okay? Leading up to that, you'll notice the biggest month had 12, okay? Most of them had under 10. Okay, so let me dig in 1 second here. I'm going to get my laser pointer out. And so yeah, in 2023, the bulk of the sales there, October, November, December. Remember, up here we said 75% of the year's auction properties go to sale in those months. Well, this is the number of auctions themselves, and these are online auctions, okay? 2024, it's slow trickle throughout the year. We're diligent to track these every month, but then you get to October, November, December, and boom, 79, 29, 93, okay? December last year was off the charts huge. 93 is the biggest month we've ever seen, okay? 2025, very similar trend, all in the yellow here, moving up, a little bit of a peak in June. September starts to warm up with 19, and then you have October. We already have 71 auctions announced for October with lists, and we have question marks for November and December, but I can tell you from previous years, November, I'm expecting 25 to 30. December, I'm expecting 75 to almost maybe 100. So that's why this time of year is when we're bringing up New Jersey. I know we've actually had some requests to make a New Jersey video for a while. I just wanted to have something to show you, okay? And we're going to We're going to get to the live demo here in a second. That's going to really show you what's in these auctions and how to take a closer look. But well, I wanted you to really understand the seasonality of this market, okay? Next up, let's talk about what's in the individual auctions. Now, I told you there are 500 plus municipalities. So we actually rolled up the October totals and did the top 10 counties. Okay, so this is rolled up and then rolled up again. Okay, so we're talking about just October, just the top 10 counties. And again, if they're like Ocean County #1 here, this is multiple municipalities rolling up to present 1,800 liens. Okay, so 1,834. That's going to be your biggest county, followed by Essex, Burlington, Monmouth, and down the list. Okay. Notice the structure percentages here. 98, 96, 97, 92, and then Gloucester has 22%. So it's interesting to see an outlier of a county like that. Okay. We may do that in the live demo and take a closer look. But these numbers all over the place, but we land squarely on that roughly 87.5% have structures. Okay. Total property value and total taxes owed. I won't read through all these numbers, but you can see these are major county valuation. I mean, a lot of property value in these counties. The opportunity here is very large, so we don't want you to miss out on New Jersey. And kind of to go with that for a minute, one thing that a lot of you are eager to invest in Florida tax liens. Okay, and that's a great example. I always question, why aren't you investing in tax liens that you actually have a path to ownership in the property? Because a Florida tax lien is going to go 2-year redemption, 18%, just like New Jersey, but you don't get a foreclosure at the end of that. Basically, your liens roll into a deed auction where you get paid as the lien holder when the deed is sold at auction. That doesn't mean you get the deed. It means you can go compete with everybody else that shows up. But in a state like New Jersey, you get the 2 years, you get the 18% max, and you get to roll straight into a foreclosure process. Okay, so that's what sets it apart really from Florida if you're comparing the two. High volume state, just like Florida, but a path to foreclosure. Now, I'll be fair here. The downside is that Florida gives you a chance to buy liens over the counter at the full 18% with no competition, nobody bidding you down to 1%. Okay, New Jersey doesn't do that. Plain and simple. And we've called so many municipalities, townships, whatever, cities, and nobody will sell them over the phone. It's just something we have not found. We've heard rumors, mysteries, and legends that New Jersey you could buy over the counter. We have not found it yet. If you can prove me wrong, I would be thrilled to know where you were able to buy over the counter, because we have searched high and low. Doesn't seem to be a place. We do know that they roll liens to next auctions frequently, even throughout the year. So, yeah, again, all that to say, Florida does let you buy over the counter, whereas New Jersey, we've not seen that, okay? All right, so enough of the intro. Let's go to the live demo, and we're going to use Parcel Fair. So let's, actually, before I jump in the map here, I just want to show you on the dashboard here, the right panel over here, top tax lien auctions, you can see New Jersey starting to really crowd out some of the other states, okay? Now, you still have South Carolina and Indiana in the mix, but New Jersey takes the first one. You see them here again, and you're going to see a lot more of that coming up as some of these bigger auctions show up. What's impressive about that is these New Jersey auctions that made the leaderboard here, these are municipalities and townships, not counties. So they're up against Florence and Marion County and other states, but these little townships have enough liens to match up against the big boy counties in other states. So just pointing it out, these auctions are not trivial, even though there's a lot of them. Okay, so the auction calendar, I want to show you how you can do some of this research I just did on your own. You can go back to previous years, go back to 2023, and right there, the months are rolled up. You can see the total of auctions on any given month. You can even see which counties. You can even go pull the list or view them on the map if you want to go look at what was at auction in any previous year, okay? This is going to typically say rolling when you go to the screen. But if you want to go to previous years, just click the year. Rolling is just going to give you a nice, convenient view of previous month and upcoming months. And it's just going to be rolling with the calendar as time marches on, okay? But yeah, so 2025, let's take a look and see what we've seen. This matches up with what I showed you a minute ago. All these low number months, and then we get to September with 19, October with 71. And that's where we are now. Some of these auctions are small, 18, 10 properties. Some of them are big, 647, 638, 343. So take your pick. If you want to see more about these auctions, just click on the text right here. You're going to find the location, the time, the place, a link to register, and a link to go view the list yourself, and a button to add it to your calendar if you want to send yourself a reminder. So that's the calendar view here in a nutshell. Let's go back to that map I was just talking about. And what I've done is I've just dumped everything on the map, 11,314 properties. This is everything from today going forward. And you know what New Jersey looks like. It's this state outlined in gray here. So let's just take a peek here. Let's go to the ocean properties. I always think that's interesting. Let's throw a satellite view on, and now we can take a look. Now, we added a new feature this week. You're going to start seeing this in our videos pretty regularly. You can go over here to the markers and overlays, the blue button on the right side of the screen. It's actually also here in the bottom left in case you're on a phone. You can click that one. The very first option there says Show Search Results Markers. If we click on that, and I lost my place. It zoomed out. Okay, so let me go back to where we were on the coast. This is to help you find these little outline polygons. They can be tough to see when you're zoomed out. Okay, now with 11,000 of these on the screen, this may not be the best use case for that. So why don't we filter down? I'm just going to do let's do Cape May County. Let's see, Cape May doesn't have anything right now. We'll do Atlantic. Sure, Atlantic, 59 properties. Go. Now that's a lot more helpful because what we're seeing now is just the properties we care about when we zoom out. I can even click on the pin and it'll zoom into that property. So like you don't have to even click on the shape, you just click on the pin and move right in there. So it's just kind of a nice thing to help you locate these properties. If you have thousands of results, you probably want to go in this screen and turn it off, but hey, we'll leave it on for now. So what the first property we found is a nice little ditch there. Okay, we're not going to talk about the ditch on the edge of a parking space. Those exist. It's not what you're shopping for. So why don't we just find, let's look for rooftops here since we have a satellite on. There's a rooftop right there. All right, let's take a peek at this house. Okay, so this is the house we're looking at on the right side of the screen. The county valuation is 175. But one of our other new features we've added this year is the ARV. This is a big difference. The after repair value for this house, using local comps up to the minute of right now when we loaded this report, $375,000. Okay, so think about that for a moment. The county's valuation is off by over 50%. It's almost, this ARV is more than double, okay, of what the county total value is, okay? So when you're paying attention to county appraisals, county assessments, they're a great relative figure for you to look at, from one property to another. This one's worth more than that one. This one's worth twice as much or half as much. But when you're going to start putting a deal together on paper, pay attention to the ARV, okay? Because if you foreclose on this property, you're going to be looking at the ARV as your price to liquidate this property. You might be wanting to rent it. Hey, we have that estimate here too, $2,710 per month estimated rent. Both of these buttons will take you to the comps of how we arrived at that. So let's do sales comps. There you go, the subject properties in green on the top row. And then these rows below it are all of the properties that we're comparing it to as comparables. You can see the sale price, sale date, how far away it is, range in miles, the match percentage, bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet, all those things. So you can really scrutinize the data right here and just see, do I agree with the ARV or not? And at a glance, I do agree because I don't see any massive outliers, a couple lower price, but nothing too bad. So anyways, back to this property. If we were just evaluating this property for tax lien purposes, we can say there's one tax lien available. Let's click on that. It's a $230 tax lien. It's pretty tiny, relatively speaking. You're not going to make a fortune off the interest on that. So, if someone bids the interest down, you're talking not a huge loss to your wallet. Really, the potential here is if you ever had a chance to foreclose on this property. So when you look at it that way, $230, I don't think someone's going to let this house go. This is probably going to be a redemption. And, it's really up to you if you want to spread your money out there and go with it or not. If you do it enough times, you can get, I would say, lucky. But there's no guarantee that this will make it to foreclosure. In fact, the odds are against it, okay? So let's go back to my map. I'm going to scrutinize this a little bit more. Let's go to all counties. All right, we're going to look across the whole state. And let's go, I just want some county value of at least $100,000, okay? And I want to make sure when I say taxes owed, this is going to be the size of that lien. Let's say I don't want anything less than $1,000. Okay, that might be too much to ask. And let's just leave it at that. I'm not even going to say we could have filtered by structures only, but again, the structure ratio is so high, I think we're going to be okay. So we have 2,500 parcels scattered across the state here. Okay, so yeah, they're well, yeah, if we have to keep zooming out, but in this local area, we just have the handful right here. We can take a peek at. So let's investigate this property. Okay, so this met our criteria. It was 185,000. It's a minimum value that we wanted. The amount due is fantastic, $6,800. That is the price of the lien. Remember, the interest rate may go down, but that price will stay the same at the auction. I want to tie up more cash in one of these because the higher the cash I tie up, obviously the interest rate is going to bring me more yield. But in the chance I can foreclose, like that chance goes up because this is a tougher tax bill for someone to cough up. They may this is a distress sign that this property may have already been let go and is just waiting on the 2 years to foreclose because there's so much owed in taxes, right? This is much larger than that $230 bill we looked at. ARV is 468, comps for rent is 2,900. So yeah, this is an example of one you could go for. If you wanted to see more about it, there's this purchase option right here. Just click on that button that tells you when, where, and how to bid on it at the auction. Everything you need to know to get there. And let's see, anything else we want to look at here? If I wanted to track this for later, I might add it to a list. I might, create a, let's create a New Jersey shopping list. Let's see. Oops, there we go. All right, so New Jersey shopping. So now I've got a list. Cool. So that I can track that for later. And let's move along. Okay, so let's go back to my search tools for a second here. Now remember, this was in Atlantic County. So let's pretend I'm going to just shop in Atlantic County for a while. Let's clear up my filters. Actually, there's not much in Atlantic County. Let me see what that neighboring county was that had a few more properties. Let's go. Actually, this is a nice dense one right here. So that was Ocean County. We talked about that at the beginning of the video. Sorry, I didn't mean to click that. Let's filter by Ocean County, and 1,800 properties available. Let's go improvements only. That only shaved off a few, so let's just take that off. Let's do total value again. Let's make a minimum of $100,000. Okay, this number of zeros. Okay, that only took out a few properties. Let's put a max of 500,000. Let's say I just don't want to deal with anything too big. That took out 400 properties. Let's do taxes. So I'm going to give it that minimum of $1,000 to make sure we're tying up enough money to be worth it. Okay, that chopped a lot of results out. We're down to 142. Let's click go on that. Okay, great example of where these little pins can come in handy. The map pins are showing me exactly where these opportunities are. Again, I'm a beach guy. I'm going to go over here to this beach property. So yeah, this really did narrow down from 1,800 to 142 in just a couple clicks for me. Now, if I want to do some deeper analysis on these, let's try this trick out here. On the right, parcel results, I'm going to save these results as a list. Not only that, I'm going to add it to that list I just made a minute ago, New Jersey shopping list, okay? I just noticed I had two of those. So hopefully this is the right, yep, this is the right one. So I just added 142 properties to that list that only have one property in it. So 143 now total. Let's take that top one out, okay? So now what I can do, I can sort and analyze the data this way. I'm looking at the amount due on this. Okay, $1,000. This is the cheapest one right here. Let's look at the high end, $11,000. Oh my goodness, some of these too high. I'm going to click off some of those. I'm just deleting them out of my list directly. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's just limit anything over 10 grand. Now I've got it down to 9,800. So any single property, I won't tie up more than 10 grand now. I can sort by the acres and see, some of these are tiny. That one's 4¼ acre. I want to take a look at that, So maybe we'll take a peek at that one. It's also land only, interesting enough. But now that I've looked at it, I see that it's dead space behind some houses. So, I could go back to that list and delete it there, but I can also do it right here. See the New Jersey shopping list? Boom, it's no longer in that list, okay? I just took it out. So now that I've dropped a few properties out, we're down to 136. And so you can see I'm curating a list. I'm refining it, I'm curating, I'm maybe taking a few out, adding a few back. But what I'm ultimately shaping and molding here is my shopping list. So when it's time for me to go place my bids, I'm going to click one of these properties and say, hey, let's go to the Tom's River auction. Let's go over here to Real Auction. This is where all of it's at, Real Tax Lien. I'm going to log in. and I'm going to place my bids ahead of time before this sale happens. And then when the sale finally gets here, I'm on autopilot. I mean, I could attend the auction and tweak things as I go. If you're skilled at divorcing emotion from your reason, then maybe you can do that. I don't do that. I get emotional at auctions. I like things to be on autopilot, so I would rather set my bids in advance and not really pay attention there. I guess the strongest arguments against what I just said is that sometimes towards the end of an auction, the best deals arrive because people have spent their money and there's less bidding towards the end. But, I guess for me, I would just move on to the next auction. If you really want to dig into an auction, then you should attend it online and probably react in real time like some people do. But, again, that is a personal preference. No right or wrong answer there. It's just whatever you're best with. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of the workflow of what you would be doing. You can do more research on the property here. We have some research links to help you out. If you're looking at, things like clearing title or title reports, investment funding, those options are here if you need to connect with those services. And again, the research here, you're going to check and see that it's an occupied property. You might see tax lien, all this stuff. So that's how you're going to do your homework on these. I highly recommend saving to a list. A lot of people don't know this. You can, of course, download your list, but you can also view your list on the map if you click this little blue button. And now that list of properties I've been curating, I just popped it onto the map. And if I want to take something off, I open it up and I can pop it off the list right there. Boom. So, this is really sort of what you're going to be looking at in New Jersey or any state for that matter if you're using Parcel Fair. So, I really hope this was helpful to you. The New Jersey auction season is a fantastic opportunity just by the sheer numbers and volume of what you're going to see. It's a pretty well, I mean, it's a good investor state. It's not the best laws. It's not the shortest redemption, but it's pretty favorable for you, especially if you're going to do this at volume. You could really buy up a lot of liens at a few $100s, $1,000 per lien, spread that money around and really put it to work, and then really try to get some foreclosures out of it in a couple of years. And remember, for the liens that make it to year two, you can actually snooze on those taxes until the foreclosure comes, and then you can pay those taxes for what you foreclose on. So that's kind of nice too. But this is a small northeastern state that a lot of people overlook, and I just want to make sure it's on your radar for this fall. And don't forget, hey, you know what? We're looking at October of 2025 right now, but don't forget November has a lot of auctions, and December is kind of the big month. There's 93 last year, 93 auctions in December last year. So don't snooze on this one if you're a tax lien investor and really want to get some diversity in your portfolio. I think New Jersey could help you out a lot with that, and at a good price point too. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you want to keep track of these videos. We have again, this is the first of the next 4 we have planned. They're going to come out in pretty quick succession, and I think you're gonna like what you see. We have some big things to show you. Also, hit the like button on this video if you liked it, because it tells us to make more of this. If we have videos that we don't get a lot of likes on, we typically don't make that kind of video anymore. So give us a shout, let us know, and yeah, by all means, reach out in the comments, reach out over email. We're one click away. Our contact form is right there. If you want to start a dialogue up, we answer those emails directly to you, so that you're not talking to robots or AI chats. You're talking with us, probably me even. So yeah, we'd love to get a dialogue going, chat with you about what's working for you, what are your questions, where are you running into challenges. We talk with markets with people all the time. So yeah, happy to talk if you want to reach out. And yeah, good luck at these auctions. I hope it works out well for you, and have a great day.